Damodarastakam
So we'll come into verse 6. Now this verse 6 is Satyabrat Muni realizes that it's Sankirtan that is going to attract Krishna, the names of Krishna. So Namo Deva Damodarananta Vishnu, these are names of Krishna. Prasida Prabhu Dukha Jalabdi Magnam, Kripa Dristi Visyati Dinam Bhatanu, Grihane Shamam Agnam, Edya Aksha Drishya. O Deva, O you who have a divine form, I offer my respectful obeisances to you. O you who are Bhakta Vatsal, affectionate to your devotees. O Damodar, O Ananta, Lord of inconceivable, magnificent potencies. O all-pervasive Vishnu, O Prabhu, my master, be pleased with me. I am drowning in an ocean of incessant worldly miseries. Alas, I am extremely miserable, and I do not know what to do. O Isha, supremely independent controller, please deliver me by the nectarian shower of your merciful glance, and enliven me by becoming directly visible to my eyes. He wants to see Krishna. He wants to see, have darshan directly. He's talked about having Krishna in the heart, but he wants to see directly Krishna. And we understand the history that Satyabrat Muni, he takes birth in his next birth as the son of the sun god, Vivishwan, as Vaibhashvatu Manu. He takes birth as the son and then becomes Vaibhashvatu Manu. So he actually does get this benediction fulfilled because he directly sees in this 7th Manvantara Krishna's pastimes directly in Vrindavan, right? As Manu, he's going to see that, he's going to witness this. So all his innermost desires are going to be fulfilled. Do you understand? He takes he's manifest. This is spoken in the Chakshush Manvantara, which is the 6th Manvantara, the one before this one. So now we're in this 7th Manvantara, and the Manu is Vaibhashvatu Manu, who is actually an incarnation of Satyabrat Muni, and now he's seeing this pastime. So this benediction has come alive for him. So he's already had a spurti. In the previous verse, it was described that he was having a spurti, but now he wants more than a spurti. He wants to have direct darshan of Krishna. So now we have the commentary, this Digdarshani Tika, Bhavanuvad by Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. By the power of his prayers, an uncommon type of prem instantly arose within Satyabrat Muni's heart. By the power of his prayers. What prayers? We've just discussed all those prayers. Even that Radhe Jai Jai Madhava Daite. This is like a prayer, not just a kirtan to enjoy the sweetness of the sound, etc. But it's a prayer by Rupa Goswami. These are prayers. So by his uncommon, the power of his prayers, an uncommon type of prem, instantly arose within Sri Satyabrat Muni's heart, and he now expresses his intense longing to Sri Bhagavan directly. Within his mind, he concluded that the best means to attain direct darshan of Sri Bhagavan is indeed Sri Nam Sankirtan, and therefore in this verse, beginning with Namo Deva, he submits himself to his Lord through fervent prayers in the form of Sri Nam Sankirtan. Just like the gopis, they perform the first Sankirtan. What is it? Jayati Tedikam Janmana Praja Shrayata Indira Shashvadatrahi Daita Drishyatam Dikshutakas Tvaitrita Shavas Tvam vichinvate. This is their Sankirtan, to attract Krishna. All 18 verses are attracting Krishna, and they do attract Krishna. He comes after they sing this. They've searched everywhere for Krishna. They can't find Krishna. And they conclude the only way is Sankirtan, just like Satyabrat Muni is doing. One should understand that even though the sage intended to use the word tubhyam, unto you, after the word namah, to complete the grammatical construction, he left it out, either because of apprehension, reverence, or because he simply lost control of himself due to the prema arising within his heart. Consequently, he was unable to address Sri Bhagavan directly. Consequently, he was unable to address Sri Bhagavan so directly. Sri Satyabrat Muni addresses his Lord, O Prabhu, my Master, O Ishvara, O Supreme Controller. He next says, Prasida, be pleased with me. In other words, he explains what gracious favor he seeks from his Lord. If his Lord is pleased with him, Prasida. The reason he seeks the favor of his Lord is described in the words Dukkha Jalabdi Magnam. Sri Satyabrat Muni says, I am drowning, Magna, in an unbroken series, Jal, of miseries, Dukkha. The miseries or Dukkha described here may be considered either the miseries born of material existence in the form of repeated birth and death, or else the suffering he feels by not being able to see his Lord. Interesting. Two types of miseries. Miseries in this world, adhyatmic, adhibautic, adhidevic, these miseries, and birth, death, disease, old age, etc., or the miseries of not seeing his Lord. So both are there. And both of these forms of misery are going to be like stimulants to increase his bhajan. Sometimes when the miseries become so intense, Radharani will give us some different types of material suffering. I watched so many pilgrims, parikramas, yatris coming around in the previous weeks, and so many had like bandages on their feet or some sort of, they looked like they were, but all had big smiles on their faces, but still their bodies were, you could see. It was difficult. But that difficulty is what gives us the impetus. If there was no difficulty, we just lie down and go to sleep. Such miseries are boundless and are therefore compared to an ocean. Abdi. He says, Ati dinam, tormented by such incessant misery. I am suffering greatly, therefore be pleased with me. Srila Sanatana Goswami now illuminates further meanings of Ati Dinam. Sri Satyabrat Muni also indicates, because I am deprived of the support of saintly association, I cannot perform sadhan bhajan. I therefore remain extremely wretched and destitute. Or, although I am somehow still alive, I am nearly dead because of my intense hankering to see you. I have no idea how to alleviate my incessant suffering. Therefore he continues, Kripa Dristi, please cast upon me your uninterrupted compassionate glance, which is like a downpour, vristya, of nectar. In this way, anugrahana, revive me by completely delivering me from this ocean of misery. With the words Edya Akshya Drishya, the sage explains exactly what gracious favor he seeks from his master. He prays, please become directly visible to my eyes. You see the escalation. First of all, he just wanted to see Balagopal in his heart. Then he only wanted to see the face in his heart. But now he wants direct darshan of Krishna. So everything is escalating through. That gives it the potency of this astakam, because it's so much moving, it's so dynamic. This is why we sing it every single day in the month of Kartik. It's loaded with udipan, with inspiration towards taking shelter of Radha and Krishna. With the words, since there is nothing more really achieved than direct darshan of Sri Krishna, it would not have been appropriate for Sri Satyabhat Muni to request it at the very beginning of his prayers. So he's had to build it before he makes his request. This is the goal that he's coming to. It's been a gradual process. This is the reason for the sequence of his prayers. I find personally this sequence is very easy for me to connect with when it's step by step by step by step, just like in Upadeshamrita. It's step by step by step, culminating in the 11th verse, coming to Radha-kunda. It's a step-by-step process. Makes it easy for the conditioned souls to walk through if we're giving the stepping stones. Regarding direct darshan with sound logic, Sri Bhagavan's associates have personally established how direct vision of Bhagavan is more glorious than vision of him within the heart. So we started with vision in the heart, but actually what is more glorious in Brihad Bhagavatamrita is described that direct vision is the highest. The excellence of this goal is explained in Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Uttarakhand 3, 179 to 182. Then there's a footnote here describing that. I'll just read this. In the first and second verse, Sri Satyabhat Muni offers pranam to Sri Damodar, who is controlled by the prem of his devotees. In the third verse, he offers repeated vandnam, or prayers unto him. In the fourth and fifth verses, he condemns all the goals of life, beginning with moksha, and prays for the Balagopal form of Sri Krishna to forever manifest within his heart. Only now, in the sixth verse, is he praying for direct darshan of Bhagavan. The sequence of prayers in this verse is as follows. Prasida, kindly be pleased with me. Anugrahani, by the shower of your compassionate glance upon me, completely deliver me from the ocean of suffering. And Akshya Drisya Edya, please become visible to my eyes. That footnote is very nice capsulation. You could write that out, verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, verse 4. And it's easy for us to access. It's almost mathematical, right? It's scientific, isn't it? One step by one step by. We can understand that with logic. It's not so esoteric. It's not out of our grasp. The conclusion is out of our grasp. That's ahoitiki, that's achintya. But at least the process to achieve it is not. In the beginning of this stanza, Sri Satyabhat Muni addresses the Lord with various names. Oh, it's quite a long description here. I'll stop here now and we'll describe these different names and forms of the Lord that Satyabhat Muni is referencing, which are very beautiful, which constitute the Sankirtan of the glories of Krishna's holy names. So we'll begin this section tomorrow. Sri Satyabhat Muni ki jai. He's carrying us. Satyabhat Muni. He's carrying us through to the highest conception. And the acharyas are supporting us all the way. We're so fortunate. Sri Damodarastakam ki jai. So coming to our Damodarastakam, 6th verse. And Satyabhat Muni has come to the conclusion. We've seen the escalation in his desire. First of all, he wanted to see Balagopal's form in his heart. And then in the 5th verse, he wanted to see just the smiling, beautiful face. Only that. So we see his focus and his eagerness increasing. But now he's wondering, how can I attain this goal? This goal seems, to Satyabhat Muni, this goal seems so far, so high to achieve. Just like us in our practices, we might be hearing the precepts and conceptions of Radha-dasyam, and it's so high. How can I ever begin to catch that? But the conclusion for us and for Satyabhat Muni, which he came to, is this Sankirtan. the holy names of the Lord. In this age of Kali, only in this Kali Yuga, there are 1,000 Kali Yugas in the day of Lord Brahma, so it's only in this Kali Yuga that the holy name is specifically empowered. Previously, the holy name was there, but it was never empowered in the same way. And it's like the servants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are so empowered to withstand the immensity of the separation moods. Like Rupa Goswami was able to write all about the separation moods between Radha and Krishna. He was able to write the intimate past. Shukadeva Goswami couldn't speak that without going into complete ecstasy, because he didn't have that empowerment to control the ecstasies. But Rupa Goswami, he would, there's a pastime where he's sitting in an assembly with so many devotees, and they're all falling down in ecstasy, weeping. But Rupa Goswami is just sitting solidly. And the devotees are thinking, he's not experiencing anything? But then they put one cotton piece of cotton under his nose, and it just bursts into flame. So they realize that he's able to control, to hold that internal separation mood because of the holy name, because of Mahaprabhu's mercy. He's empowered to speak and share these topics. Others were not, because they would become too much ecstatic. Shukadeva in particular, after the Aghasura pastime, for example, is described in the 10th canto. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti described that Shukadeva becomes completely ecstatic because Parikshit is asking for more and more pastimes. So Shukadeva thinks of more pastimes and becomes totally lost in ecstasy. And it's described that Vyasadeva and the other people in the assembly, Narad Rishi, they all gathered around Shukadeva, and they had loud kirtan into his ears, this holy name, to bring him back into his present senses so that he could complete this Bhagavatam. We can read this pastime at the end of the Aghasura pastime in the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's Artha Darshani. This was before he described the Brahma Vimohan Leela. So this Sankirtan, we cannot estimate the extraordinary quality of this. And we described yesterday how the first Sankirtan was by the gopis. Jayati Tedikam Janmana Braja. This beautiful Gopi Geet was sung to attract Krishna. And it attracted Krishna. Krishna came as a consequence of that beautiful kirtan by the gopis. Now similarly, Satyabrat Muni, he's thinking the only way that I can possibly achieve this high desire of mine, because he doesn't just want to see Balagopal in his heart now, he wants to see him directly. So this is another whole stage. He doesn't just want a spurti. And he's thinking, if I can endear the Lord, if I can attract the Lord by his holy, because his holy names are so powerful. What's that verse? Karle dosha nidhi rajan asti hyeko mahan guna kirtanat eva krishnasya mukta sangha parambrajet. This Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults. What is it? How is that? Asti hyeko mahan guna. But there is one good quality amongst this ocean of faults, and that is kirtan of the holy name. This is the reality of the world that we live in. It's filled with so many difficulties in Kali Yuga, but the holy name has the potency to purify the consciousness, to deal with those difficulties, because consciousness is the symptom of life. So everything is happening in our consciousnesses. So if the consciousness becomes disturbed, which is the atmosphere of this age, how are we going to bring that consciousness to a sober place, except by taking shelter of the holy names? And we must take shelter of Tattva and Siddhanta simultaneously. If it's just the holy name, then our focus can be led astray. So Satyabrat Muni is very direct here, and he wants to achieve the object of his inner vision. by this Sankirtan. So yesterday we reached the place, we just finished that footnote, and we were just about to start to explain, or Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Maharaj is explaining these particular names that Satyabhrat Muni is using to appeal to the Lord. This is his kirtan. So this is on page 132. The top of 132. Damodar. O Bhagavan, you are known by the name Damodar because of your exceptional quality of bhakta vatsalyata, deep affection for your devotees. Because of this special quality, you agreed to be bound around your waist by your mother, and by this same quality, you appear before the eyes of your devotees. Let them meet you face to face. Sri Satyabhrat Muni therefore considers, because of his bhakta vatsalyata, I too will be able to directly see him with my own eyes. It's depending on the Lord's kripa, depending on his compassionate nature. He is bhakta vatsalyata. He is that most compassionate personality towards his devotees. And we see this replicated by all of his representatives. The acharyas in our line are fully immersed in compassionate acts to bring the jivas out of this darkness of confusion and distraction from their goal. And we have the Srimad Bhagavatam also to open that door. Who is Bhagavatam? Is Krishna directly himself. Krishna swadharamo pachite dharmajanadi saha kalona sadrisham isha purana kodanodita. This Bhagavat Purana is as brilliant as the sun and has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna for his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Men who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of this age shall get light from this Bhagavat Purana, because this Bhagavat Purana is Krishna directly. And Damodar is one name. The name is non-different. Namna Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Punashudo Nityanatyam Vinatvam Namino Namaha. That this name and the personality Krishna are non-different. Not easy to understand. But we can understand it because we can experience it. When we chant nicely, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, when we hear that transcendental vibration, Hare Krishna, it has a direct effect on the consciousness every single time. So we either experience a great effect or a lesser effect. But gradually, when our chanting becomes more purified, when our heart's desires become purified, when these material desires become incinerated. Klesh Agni Shubhada. Klesh Agni means the suffering. Agni, fire. Klesh is suffering. Agni is fire. Shubhada. Everything becomes auspicious. This is sadhan bhakti. And it's moving always in the direction of bhav bhakti. We have to have that understanding that our sadhan must be focused on bhav bhakti to be moving. If the sadhan bhakti is not focusing on bhav bhakti, what is the purpose of it? Moksha? Vaikuntha prem? Liberation of some sort? Brahma Gyan? So it must be focusing on bhav bhakti. So Damodar, this name, has that potency. Ananta, O unlimited, endless Lord, or, O Lord, there is no end or limit to your mercy. Have we any experience in this material world of something without limitation? We look at the sky, but that's also limited. We understand there's a limitation, it's space, but where is the end of that? But Ananta means without cessation, without end. It's a wonderful meditation to consider that conception, without end. Ananta, O unlimited, endless Lord, or, O Lord, there is no end or limit to your mercy. we see in Jagai and Madai, what fallen wretches they were in Kali Yuga. They had murdered people, thrown old ladies down wells, burnt houses down. What sins didn't Jagai and Madai perform? And Mahaprabhu bestowed his mercy on them directly because of Nityananda Prabhu, because of the mercy of Nityananda in particular. And when Yamaraj was considering this, because Yamaraj knows, he has his scribe, Gupta. Oh, what's his name?
Chitragupta.
Chitragupta. His scribe, Yamaraj asks his scribe, Haribol. He came back, okay.
Yes.
Haribol. He asks his scribe about the sins of these reprobates, these sinful persons. And Chitragupta, he's saying, he's grown tired. His arm is tired from writing down all their sins. He's exhausted from writing so many sins down. But now all those sins have just been thrown away, thrown into the ocean. Because Mahaprabhu, by his mercy, this powerful mercy, Karuna Shakti cannot manifest in the spiritual worlds. There's no need for it, because everyone is automatically compassionate towards each other. That Karuna Shakti is one of the reasons why Krishna manifests this material world, so he can demonstrate this wonderful Shakti of Karuna Shakti, because the conditioned souls are suffering so much. So this Karuna Shakti, just like when he's being bound by Mother Yashoda, it's the Karuna Shakti that chases away that Satya Kalpa, that Aishwarya mood that is preventing Mother Yashoda from binding him. It's when Krishna starts to feel sympathy for Mother Yashoda's tremendous efforts. Her perspiration, her flowers are coming out of her hair. So then when that Karuna Shakti comes, then immediately that Aishwarya Shakti has to retreat. And then Krishna allows himself to be bound as a result of the Karuna Shakti, the compassionate mood. So this compassion mood is extraordinary in the Supreme Lord. And here it's saying, there is no limit to your mercy. Thank goodness, because we are so sinful. And there's no limit to Krishna's mercy. If there was a limit, we wouldn't be in the game, we wouldn't be in the running, we'd be finished. No hope at all. Yes, exactly. But because he's so compassionate, he will even accept us. The sage addresses Sri Bhagavan with this name because he desires to attain the Lord's favor in the form of his merciful glance. Prabhu, another name. O Lord, your inconceivable potencies are unlimited, astonishing, and immensely powerful. By addressing the Lord thus, the sage implies, O Lord, by the influence of your inconceivable potency, you can become visible to my eyes, even though you are beyond the grasp of my senses. So the material senses are prakat, and they can't reach the aprakat. They can't conceive. We might do so much various practices like yogis and so on, but you can't actually, they merge into the Brahman, or that Paramatma realization, but they can't actually go to the spiritual reality, the spiritual world. Goloka Vrindavan, that's aprakat, and that needs someone who is already there to pull us in that direction. There's no other way. Doesn't matter what sadhan bhajan we perform. Without that kripa, we cannot, it's inconceivable, because we have, everything is calculated by our material senses. How can you make something from material become spiritual? Unless it's going to be influenced by something that is spiritual. How can you ignite the fire in wood without another piece of wood that's already on fire? How is it possible? You can't. Like the match is on fire, that's a piece of wood, etc. Isha, O supremely independent controller. By this the sage implies you are the absolutely independent controller. Independent, Krishna is Shaktiman, totally independent. So you never rely on anyone or anything to exhibit mercy, even to such an unqualified person as me. This is the symptom of extreme humility. It's this humility that's going to attract Krishna. That must be there. It's the antithesis of the proud, conditioned soul. The conditioned soul is conditioned because of his pride. That pride is holding him, his abhiman, his identity, as this particular person with this particular reputation, with this particular family or bank balance or qualification materially. They restrict the jiva going forward when he's holding on to that material identity, abhiman. But when that becomes dissolved, it's described that the subtle body itself has to be dissolved completely. We read in the Bhagavatam, in pastimes like Prithu Maharaj, where he dissolves the subtle body. Even Dhritarashtra, in his yogic trance, he had to dissolve this subtle body and incinerate his body. So that subtle body needs to be dissolved to reach the higher state. O Isha, O supremely independent controller. By this the sage implies you are the absolutely independent controller, so you never rely on anyone or anything to exhibit mercy, even to such an unqualified person as me. Vishnu, O all-pervasive one, or, O you who are always inclined to enter the secluded caves and groves of Vrindavan. So Vishnu also can reference that. It's not just that supreme maintainer of the material world. It's saying here that another understanding of the word Vishnu is that he can enter the secluded caves and groves of Vrindavan. Here the sage implies you are omnipresent, so you do not have to undergo the difficulty of traveling a long distance to appear directly before my eyes.
Yeah.
Can you come before my eyes? He's begging. Next, Sanatana Goswami reveals another meaning implied by these names. The sage says, although you are Ananta, boundless, and Vishnu, all-pervading, you are also Damodar. You willingly allowed your devotee to bind you around your waist. The meaning is, out of extreme affection for your devotees, there is nothing you will not do. Thus the sage has indicated that this special meaning is present when the names Ananta, Vishnu, and Damodar are considered together. The meaning of the remaining names are the same as before. So this speciality of mercy is really exhibited by Sachinandan Gaurahari. He is the most munificent of all the avatars. He was not requesting the qualification of anyone. He was just liberally benedicting them with prem. Mahaprabhu is Prem Purushottam. Krishna is Leela Purushottam. Ram is Maryad Purushottam. They each have their individual qualities and characteristics, and there's no one more munificent. Munificent means completely giving. Audarya, this Audarya mood is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu holds. So all of our meditation has to be pivoted. It has to be, the key cornerstone is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If Mahaprabhu is merciful, I can go forward. And Mahaprabhu will be merciful to thee, for he was so merciful, he sent Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to the Western world. That's an example of his mercy. Such an exemplary, pure personality came into the darkness of the dirty Western world and just dragged those souls out of that state, that pitiful state, by his tremendous affection. Because love is always going to be the vital ingredient. If we start to come too much into the realm of gyan, we might minimize the mood of affection and love. We have to understand what is that transcendental affection, what is that transcendental relationship. That's sambandha. Sambandha is the first stage. And then we come to the Abhideya, etc., then the Prayojan. So this sambandha, this relationship with Krishna, described in the Jaiva Dharma in the beginning, in the first chapter, about the three vastus. What are the three vastus? Krishna, Maya, and the Jiva. And the sambandha, Gyan, is what is the relationship between these three. This is the nature of sambandha Gyan. What is the relationship between the Jiva and Krishna, and the Jiva and the material energy, and Krishna and the Jiva and the material energy? If we understand this platform, and it takes Bhaktivinoda Thakur 12 chapters to actually describe all this in great detail, then the sadhak can have a very firm foundation to enter the next stage of the Abhideya, or the Dasamula section of the Jaiva Dharma. So, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. This is the end of his Digdarshani Tika on the 6th verse. So now we come to my Gurudev's Digdarshani Vritti. And this is like called Pratana. These are prayers that Satyabrat Muni is opening his heart fully with the urgency to please fulfill my innermost desires. So the sadhak wants to cultivate this mood. Please fulfill my innermost desires. What are my innermost desires? What do I want to attain? Initially, it's like liberation. When we first become devotees, we want to be liberated from the pain of the material existence. That's actually why we become attracted. Most of us, 99%. Some become attracted because from birth they're exposed to the beauty of the Thakurji, their parents are Vaishnavas, so they naturally have that connection with the Supreme. But most are coming because they want liberation from the suffering. So that has to be purified. That desire has to be purified. When we read Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami, he's glorifying liberation in the beginning as being the principal goal of most sadhaks. But then very subtly, about a third of the way through, he starts to talk about the glories of devotional service. It transitions, because liberation is about you, me. It's about the individual soul. It's not about Krishna. It's like Sharanagati is about me. It's not about Krishna. It's about my qualification to surrender. But it's not about bhakti direct. It's the threshold of bhakti. It must be there, but it's the threshold of bhakti. Understand? So this, we can say practically anartha of desiring liberation. Asat Trishna. 4 types of anarthas, and one of them is the desire for liberation. Hunger, thirst, just to be liberated from the suffering of this material world. And many of us go through lifetimes trying to achieve this end, unless we're so fortunate to come in contact with the Mahabhagavat, who says, actually, my darling child, you can do something more than this liberation. You can go and directly render devotional service. As soon as the mood of service comes in, everything transforms. When we're serving Harinam, when we're serving that Kirtan, when we're serving the Vaishnavas, when we're serving Guru, when we're serving Bhagavat, the Bhagavatam, this mood of service transitions everything. It's the difference between what the devotees follow and what any other religion in the world follows, is this devotional service. Every other religion in the world, and someone can correct me if they think this is a difference here, doesn't talk about direct service to Krishna, to God, because really, they don't really know who God is to serve. How can you serve God if you don't know who He is? This is why we were saying the tremendous gift of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He told us who we can serve. this cowherd boy. First of all, that had to be introduced. Because it has to come from the core of the heart. It can't come from the mind. It can't come from someone who's very clever, they're very able, their minds are sharp, and they can catch significant conceptions. But devotional service is another dimension that we're crying for. And Guru will always encourage us in that direction. So now so this is Pratana, so now Digdarshini Britti. In the 4th verse, Sri Satyabrat Muni refused to accept the results of performing Vaidhi Bhakti. Varam Deva Moksham Namokshava Dimba. We discussed that. But in this verse, he expresses that he desires to attain the result of Raganuga Bhakti, Braja Prem. He desires nothing else. Our focuses have to be really ekantika, really super one-fixed, one-pointed, no distractions. If we want to attain this, and this needs training. The consciousness needs to be trained. And it's not so easy because we're surrounded by distractions, especially these mobile phones. You can have any desire in your mind and it can practically, if you want to watch any type of video or anything, it can just be fulfilled in a moment. It's a remarkable object of Maya Devi as well as Krishna. It's like the razor edge. It can go either way. It can be a great blessing to take the various classes and so on, and Harikatha that is put there, or it can be the greatest distraction simultaneously. So we're really challenged with this. We really have to be aware, alert to it, to know when to put it down. Those in the line of Sriman Mahaprabhu, and especially those who aspire for the type of prem conceived by Sri Rupa Goswami, Rupanuga Bhaktas, must have this kind of determination. Must. If we want this goal that Rupa Goswami is giving us, we must develop this type of determination. And this will be supported, as we've said so many times today even, from the potency of Nam. And the more you consume Nam, the more potent your consciousness becomes, the more possible it becomes to reject these lower attractions. It's true. It's only by Nam. Mahaprabhu has given us Braja Prem, and he's given us the method to achieve it through Harinam and association with Rasik Bhaktas. What do we say? Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravanam, Mathura Vas. This verse. I said that at the beginning. Nam Kirtan, Sadhu Sangha. Nam Kirtan, Sadhu Sangha, Bhagavat Shravanam, Murtaye Vas, Sri Mathura Vas, residing in the holy places. These 5 principles of bhakti. I didn't get that verse quite right. I'm not sure if it's Sadhu Sangha first. Have you got that verse? Sadhu Sangha Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravanam, Shrimutaye Sevaya, Mathura Vas. That's fine. Anyway, we'll carry on. Those in the line of Sriman Mahaprabhu, and especially those who aspire for the type of prem conceived by Srila Rupa Goswami, Rupanuga Bhaktas, must have this same kind of determination. This determination of the Bhakta is exactly like that of the Chataka bird. The only water the Chataka bird accepts is the rainwater that falls when the Swati Nakshatra constellation is prominent in the sky. The Chataka bird thinks, I do not care if I die or of thirst. I do not even care if I am struck by a thunderbolt. I will only drink the water falling from the Swati Nakshatra. It's hard for us to conceive of that consciousness. Is it true?
Yes.
Do you know about these birds?
Yes, Chetak birds.
You know about
Yes,
them?
yes.
Well, what do they do if there's no Swati Nakshatra?
They'll be waiting for that time only, opening the mouth.
Did you find it?
What's the start of it?
Nam Bhajan. Nam. The devotee should think, I only want deep love for Sri Radha Krishna. I do not want anything else. You know, sometimes I've heard different groups of devotees talking a lot about devotee relationships and considering that these are more prominent. But this is material still, if we're relating on the material platform. We want the relationship in service to Radha and Krishna exclusively. That is what we desire. And the relationships with other Vaishnavas will happen by itself as a result of that. I think it's Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravanam, Nam Kirtan. Look. I especially yearn to become the maidservant of Sri Radha. Only my Gurudev can write like this. He was not popular amongst the Gaudiyas because he was saying it too prominently. Because the Gaudiya line generally is not going the same speed that my Gurudev wanted to move along. Many Gaudiya Mats rejected the teachings of my Guru. They said that they were too open, they were too confrontational, or too much showing the confidential pastimes too prominently. But my Gurudev said many times, if I don't do this, they will be lost forever. If we don't discuss these topics of being Radha Dasyam, they will be covered over by these material desires, ultimately for liberation, or for something less than Radha Dasyam. Did you find it?
Sadhu Sangha Nam Kirtan.
Oh, Sadhu Sangha, Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravanam.
Shri Murti Shraddhaya Seva.
Yes, yes, this verse. These 5 principal forms of bhakti. May I serve her under the guidance of her intimate friends. Her intimate friends. Her Pran Sakhis and Priya Nam Sakhis. So there's a footnote here. Sri Radha's Pran Sakhis are her manjaris, whom she, like Lalita and Vishaka, are her most affectionate friends, who are always dedicated to pleasing her. Lalita and Vishaka, they think of nothing else except pleasing Sri Radha. And the manjaris, they think of nothing else except serving every moment the desires of Sri Radhika. There's a distinction between the two. One is like a wonder Vraj in Vatsalya Prem. So Vatsalya Prem is like an initial entry, we can say, of our understanding the depth of the love within Vrindavan. And then it escalates from there through different stages. Mai, don't hit me. This is the nature of the immaculate and sweet Vatsalya Prem of Braj. In his meditation, Sri Satyabrat Muni saw how Mother Yashoda was kissing Krishna's cheeks, how his earrings were doing the same, and especially how the gopis were kissing Krishna so sweetly. He yearns to see this little Gopal directly. Astonishingly, even after such a sweet vision, his hankering has still not been satiated. Therefore, he will eventually express an even higher desire than that he expresses in this stanza. So we're reading ahead, we're understanding what is going to be his next expression in the 8th verse, this desire to serve Sri Radhika. He wonders, how can I attain love for Sri Krishna and consequently darshan of Mother Yashoda's darling son with my eyes? It is well known that loving service to Sri Krishna is only attained by chanting his holy names. Therefore, in this stanza, Sri Satyabrat Muni performs Nam Sankirtan. In this stanza, yes, in this verse, this is verse 6. Damodeva Nanta, Ananta Vishnu. So all these names of Krishna, is what Satyabrat Muni is appealing for. This is why it's called pratana. He's appealing to Krishna through the principal kirtan of his names. In the previous verse, Sri Satyabrat Muni prayed, "May your lotus face in your form of little Gopal, the same form in which you shed streams of tears in fear of your mother, forever appear in my heart. I especially long to see your face in my heart perpetually, as it is being kissed again and again by your mother or by Sri Radha. May that Sri Krishna, who holds a flute to his lips and attracts the entire world and even himself," this is why he appears as Sachinandan Gaurahari. He sees himself, his reflection, in a column. It's described in the Adi Lila, chapter 4, in the Chaitanya. He sees his, and he thinks, "I've never seen a more beautiful boy than this in my life." He wants to taste his own beauty. This Adbhuta Madhurima, this is one of his desires. He can only do that by becoming the Ashraya and not the Vishaya. The Vishaya is the one who receives all the affection, but the Ashraya is the one who serves the object of affection. So he becomes the Ashraya so that he can taste his own sweetness. This Adbhuta Madhurima, these three desires he has. Perpetually has been kissed at your mother. May that Sri Krishna, who also forever appear. Upon seeing his form, all moving beings become stunned and motionless, and all non-moving things give up their nature and begin to move. The trees, they blossom and they bear all their fruits when Krishna plays his flute. Jamuna Devi becomes stunned as she doesn't move. Sometimes she even flows the opposite direction. The rocks, they melt. The cows, they're taking the grass and their mouths are just open. The grass is just hanging in their mouths. The calves, if they're drinking milk, the milk just is falling from their mouth. They're no longer taking it. Everyone is stunned by the sound of this flute. How magical must that flute sound be? We must cry for that, to hear that flute sound. Krishna, my Gurudev describes, took up playing the flute at a very early age because he thought, my brother Balaram is so big and so handsome and so strong, he will attract all the gopis. What can I do to attract the gopis? Oh, I should learn how to play the flute and attract the gopis with my flute. So he begins at a very early age to play his flute. And this is the most attractive feature. He doesn't need the flute in Dwarka, for example, because it's a different dimension. But in Braj, the flute is his Priya Saka. It's his dearmost friend that he has with him all the time. He always is carrying his flute, unless the gopis steal it. And then he becomes very disturbed. In this stanza, however, Sri Satyabrat Muni wishes to directly behold Sri Krishna's beautiful form with his own eyes. He realized that Sri Krishna will not appear before him unless he performs Nam Kirtan. So now he prays through the medium of Nam Kirtan, beginning with Namo Deva Damodara. Sri Satyabrat Muni had heard about the Kirtan performed by the Braj Gopis when Sri Krishna disappeared from the Ras dance, and the gopis were unable to bear separation from him and began to cry. This song they sang while weeping is famous by the name Gopi Geet, and it is found in Srimad Bhagavatam. With deep love, Srimad Mahaprabhu used to relish this song, especially during the period of his life when he remained in the Gambhira. The following verse is from Gopi Geet. Tava katam ritam tapta jivanam kavibhiditam kalmasapaham shravana mangalam shrimadatam bhuvi granatiye bhuridajana. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-9. O Krishna, we are always suffering in this material world, but just hearing the immortal nectar of your words and narrations of your pastimes gives us life. These narrations coming from your lips of your pure devotees eradicate one's sinful reactions and bestow the ultimate benediction, Krishna Prem, upon whoever hears them with faith. Your pure devotees broadcast these narrations, which are full of spiritual beauty and opulence all over the world. There is certainly no one more kind and compassionate than those souls who distribute this nectar. There's also a contradictory commentary on this, saying actually these are the enemies because they make everyone become beggars and everyone become miserably searching for Krishna. There's a beautiful commentary, perhaps my Gurudev will explain it here. But the gopis are being tortured by the pain of separation from Krishna. They were actually saying, the description of your pastimes is not nectar. Yes, my Gurudev explained. Amrita. They are deadly poison. Mrita. Mrita means like death. Mritya. Death. If anyone hears them, their life becomes one of suffering. Poets have sung the glories of narrations about you in vain. At first, the narrations seem to be full of charm and sweetness, but instead of bringing joy to someone's life, they plague him with sorrow. In fact, the people who recite your pastimes are ruining everyone's lives. It's the opposite, this verse, this description. In this verse, the word Burida, most munificent, indicates that those who broadcast narrations about Shri Krishna all over the world are the greatest of all generous people. However, in divine madness, Divyanmad, brought about by the severe pain of being separated from Krishna, the gopis spoke about him sarcastically, just like we went through a little bit of that Brahmaragit, where Sri Radhika is expressing in the same Divyanmad mood this denigrating, putting Krishna down as not being very intelligent. You know, why is he hurting the gopis so extremely? So this is in the Brahmaragit also. The gopis can speak like this. The gopis spoke about him sarcastically. Just see how these people are blazoning the activities of that black boy. They carry a copy of Srimad Bhagavatam, roam from street to street exclaiming, "We do not want money. We just want you to listen to us." For no charge, they cast the net of Krishna's pastimes over the living entities. Those people, now captured, are left to writhe in agony, weeping and wailing, just like the gopis of Uddhav Kyari. Eventually they leave their homes, wealth, possessions, relatives and families. Like beggars or like birds, they live without any permanent residence and maintain themselves with whatever meager edibles are given to them by others, and they sleep wherever they can find a place to lie down. They spend their days and nights in this way, constantly tortured by the pain of being separated from Sri Krishna. If you get a glimpse of Krishna, if you get a glimpse of his sweetness, the separation mood will overtake you completely, and you'll only want to be with Krishna. There won't be anything else that you feel you want to do in this world. There'll be no further obligation. All social ties, all ideas of dharma, etc., will just be swept aside, and you'll just want to spend all your time trying to become close to Krishna. That means residing in the holy dhams with very little material wealth, etc., because you have no material desires. So why would you want some material opulence? And this is what happens. This is directly, we see. And always unhappy, walking around, weeping. But actually deep inside, they are connecting in such a significant way. They would never want to give this up in a million years, trillion years. Once you catch it, the eagerness, the speciality of that relationship. But you can't have it all straight away. That's where the misery comes in. You have to be like Satyabrat Muni. He's anxious to achieve this. They spend their days and nights in this way, constantly tortured by the pain of being separated from Sri Krishna. My dear friend, one gopi said, those who recite Srimad Bhagavatam are actually not to blame. The sweetness of Krishna's lotus face, beautiful form, flute, qualities and pastime are responsible for these calamities. Even just hearing about his sweetness, one will enter this miserable condition. Another gopi exclaimed, "O Saki, what to speak of others in this condition? Just look at you. There are no hunters more merciless than those who narrate the pastimes of Sri Krishna. Persons who hear their narrations weep, and then they make their families weep by abandoning them." Another gopi protested, "Actually, Sri Krishna himself is the greatest of all those who spread this propaganda. He is the one who made us run away from our homes to meet him when he played on his flute. He drove us mad with love, turned us into beggars, and then left us. Who is more ungrateful than he?" When Krishna heard them say all this, he burst into their midst, crying, "Oh, no, no, I am not ungrateful. You are my beloveds, and I am yours. I only left you all to make your remembrance of me more intense." Krishna leaves. He might appear for a moment, just like with Narada Muni. He appeared for a flash, and then he disappeared for the rest of that life, because he wanted to increase the eagerness in Narada Muni's heart. And he's doing the same with the gopis. "Do you know where I went? I did not actually leave you. I was right behind you, listening to your song of separation, conversing in the indirect mode of communication called parokshvad. Sri Krishna and the gopis relish their prem for each other. From this example, it is clear that parokshvad, which is common throughout the Vedas, is also employed in the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. Parokshvad means you say one thing, but you mean actually another. You're saying something like when in Pranaya Gita, Krishna tells the gopis to go home, but actually in another meaning, he's asking them to please remain. There's nothing to be frightened about. Please remain. That's called parokshvad. There's a description here. I'll read it. Editor's footer. In the same way that Sri Bhagavan did not reveal himself to unqualified people, the Vedas express confidential knowledge in an indirect and concealed manner, because it is not meant to be openly distributed. This indirect form of communication is called parokshvad. People can't understand the direct, or they can't understand the subtle intention of Krishna. So they tend to disbelieve that. So these teachings are covered by this mood of parokshvad. Their disguise is like a code. Krishna's saying one thing, but he actually means another. Sometimes the devotees get confused by this. They try to speak in the same way. That's not correct at all when the materialist tries to do that. That's called cheating or duplicity. But Krishna's not like that. He means something else.
So it's the internal moods that gopis have to catch.
Yes, but that's the subtle mood. But they also have to address what is the nature of the gross words that he's saying. Just like in Pranaya Gita, Krishna is saying go home, they become very miserable. Krishna is telling us to go home, even though he doesn't really mean this. He's being tricky with us. At the same time, they hear his external words, and they reciprocate with his external words and defeat him in Pranaya Gita. They're saying that if you are the guru, then our first service is to you. So we will stay with you. We will not go. Krishna wants to bring that out. But they have to crash through from the gross to the subtle. So it's not direct. It's parokshvad. If anyone tries to adopt the moods of the gopis and hoping to achieve Sri Krishna's mercy, performs Nam Sankirtan with great humility, Krishna will not be able to restrain himself. He will surely appear directly before that person. So with greed, with intensity. This is talking about intensity of greed, which we've just read. All of what we just was reading was about the intensity of greed, which the gopis build through their separation moods. Okay? So many meanings in here. I'm dumbstruck by my Gurudev's commentary. Actually, even I've read it many times, but reading it publicly like this, I'm realizing the depth of this Damodarastakam. Teachings are so profound and perfect for this month, where there is so much extra potency in the atmosphere, because it's Kartik, it's Radhika's month, and if we're in association with devotees, and if we're fortunate enough to be in the holy dhams, then even more understanding of these topics will come. But these are remarkable topics that my Gurudevs, we can't understand them straight away. Actually, next year, if we read the same thing again, you would have a totally different appreciation. And if you read again the third year after that, you would have another completely different appreciation. It escalates, it must be. Damodarastakam ki jai, Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. Damodarastakam is just becoming thicker and thicker and thicker. I was saying last night when we concluded, I was just amazed at the depth of Rasik explanations my Gurudev is sharing in this Damodarastakam. And I'm very satisfied that we decided just to read through this in the month of Kartik in Radha-kunda, in Vrindavan, and to remember this incredible pastime and to reflect on the significance of all the teachings that is being given about how to perform bhajan, the nature, the internal bhajan, the external bhajan, etc. This is all being described very, very beautifully. The last thing we read on page 127, we're up to the 6th verse, and we've been describing constantly the dynamic of escalation from the 1st verse through to the 8th verse. It's just the current. This is why we read it every Kartik. This is why we sing it every Kartik, because all the verses are just increasing and increasing. Bhajan means catching the spirit of greed. If that spirit of greed is not, if it's vacant, if I'm complacent about it, if I don't really care too much, it's not going to turn on. But if we're hungry for this, that's the principal ingredient. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitamati kriyatomiti talabhyate tatra lolyam apimulyam janma koti shukritiya na labhyate. This greed is the essence, this lolyam of the rag marg path. And what is the essence of the Vaidhi marg path? What is the essence of that? Fear. Fear. In a mood of duty. Sometimes we can say, because it's described that the sun rides its orbit out of fear. Fire incinerates out of fear. Indra pours the rain out of fear. But we can also interpret that to mean duty. They do it out of duty. When you're doing something dutifully, there's some background of fear involved, isn't it? It's there. That's why you do it. This is my duty. If I don't do it, the sky will drop on my head or something like that. So I have to do it. So this escalation of ecstasies, and we talked about the 1st verse is describing Mother Yashoda capturing Krishna from behind because she ran faster than Krishna. So the instruction is we have to run faster than Krishna to him, to capture him. Not that we wait for Krishna to come to us. It's never going to work that way. We have to actually be so enthusiastic for Krishna that we are prepared to do anything to connect with him. Are we? No. But that's the purpose of Kartik, is to try and inspire inspiration in this direction through Nam and through the association of the devotees and through the association of the atmospheres of Braj. For example, when you stay here in Radha-kunda, you were saying this Chinese lady at the back, she can't sleep at night because the energy is so strong. She's chanting all night, all night, all night, because the energy is so powerful here. And it is. If you connect with that potency, you can really progress radically, rapidly along in this path. So that 1st verse describes the pastime. The 2nd verse also, Rudantam Muhur Netra. Krishna's rubbing his eyes again and again. So this is the Leela, and this is called Mantra Upasana. This is a single focus on one lila. And then you get to the third verse, iti driksva lila biya ananda kunde. That kund filled with ananda of pastimes. That's called swarasiki. That's many, many pastimes tumbling at the same time through your consciousness. Not just one, but many. And this is considered a higher consideration. And then by the fourth verse, Satyabrat Muni is saying, I don't want liberation. I don't even want Navada Bhakti. I don't want moksha. I don't want Vaikuntha prem. I only want to see the form of Balagopal in my heart. His whole temperature, mood, has fine-tuned with hunger just to see that Balagopal in his heart. And Krishna, who is sometimes represented as talking to him, is astonished that you don't even want Navada Bhakti. You just want to see my form in your... But then the fifth verse, it escalates again. He doesn't just want to see the form of Balagopal in his heart. He wants to see the beautiful face. Just the face he wants to see now. So it's gone to a higher level again. This is the nature of this whole Astakam. It's flowing. It's an incredible Astakam. That's why we chant it every single Kartik. Every single Kartik we express the glories of this Damodarastakam. It's an eternal Astakam. It hasn't just manifested from Satyabrat Muni. It was originally spoken by Narada Muni to Sonaka Rishi, who wasn't sure of his Staibhav. That's how it's described. So it's going through different types of Staibhav all the way. It starts in Dasya, and then it goes to Sakya, then it goes to Vatsalya. And we know the eighth verse is going to culminate in Madhurya. So it's escalating like that. It's phenomenal. It really is. And my Gurudev, his explanations and commentaries are really super illuminating. So now we've come to the sixth verse, and Satyabrat Muni just doesn't know what to do, how he can capture the aspiration of his heart, except by Nam Sankirtan. So this sixth verse is Damodarastakam Ananta Vishnu. All these different names of Krishna are chanted, and we describe the first Sankirtan was the gopis. Jayati Tedikam Janmana Bhaja Indriya Shashwadatrahi Daita Drishyatam Dikshutavakas Tvaitrita Shavas Tvam Vichinvate. They were calling Krishna through their kirtan, their Sankirtan, and he came. Napariyeham niravadya, that's what he said. Forgive me, you have captured me. Not even in a day of Lord Brahma can I repay you for your exceptional love and affection you have demonstrated to me. So this is in the sixth verse that we're discussing. But you know what? We've come to the end of our time. So all we were able to do was throw just a brief summary. Maybe we should just read one page anyway. Excuse me. On page 129. We'll just read this one page, because this is where we're up to, I think. Is it not? No, maybe it's not.
127. 127.
Just a minute. 127. We're up to one. Oh yes, 127. So let me read the last paragraph. Oh, we talked about Parokshvad. And then my Gurudev is saying, if anyone tries to adopt the moods of the gopis and hoping to achieve Krishna's mercy, performs Nam Sankirtan with great humility, unless this ingredient of humility is there, which is the spiritual principle quality. Because what is the antithesis of humility? It's pride. And that is the nature of the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul is proud of everything, whatever he has. Proud of his shoes, proud of his hair, proud of his spectacles, anything, anything, anything. Become proud of it, you know, because we have nothing actually of value. And we're trying to place value on material objects, our house, our bank balance, our family, and everything like this. And the conditioned soul spins on that circle of pride in their material. And that pride, what is the concomitant quality that goes with pride? It's envy. As soon as you start to be proud of something, it's because you're looking at somebody who's got, you think, imagine, less than you. Yes, look at me. I am so great and he is so small. That's called envy. So envy and pride are synonymous. And humility and prem are synonymous. The more prem we have, the more humility. Who is the most humble personality in creation? Shrimati Radhika. Shrimati Radharani. No one is more humble than Shri Radhika. Swarup Shakti. She manifests she controls Krishna. But she's so humble at the same time. This quality is exceptional. So we have to consider these qualities when we're practicing our bhajan specifically. So Krishna will not be able to restrain himself. He will surely appear directly before that person. Remaining conscious of one's relationship with Sri Krishna and free from all anarthas, the sadhak should form sankirtan of the holy names that are bestowed upon him by Sri Guru. All of Sri Krishna's pastimes, with their inherent sweetness, as well as one's relationship with Sri Krishna in that particular pastime, are associated with his corresponding holy names. Like Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. These are all very rasik names. If we're singing Jai Jagannath, that's a different mood. You see? By the mercy of Krishna's holy names, the corresponding pastime will begin to manifest in one's heart. It is for this reason that Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari, who is absorbed in relishing Mahabhav, Sri Radhika's highest mood, propagated the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Now there's an explanation on this. In the groves of Vrindavan, Sri Radhika steals away Sri Krishna's mind. The word harana means to steal, and hara is the feminine form of one who steals. According to Sanskrit grammar, when hara is uttered as a personal address to someone, it becomes hare. The root kris means to attract, and na means bliss. Therefore, he who gives bliss to everyone with the sweetness of his beautiful form, qualities, flute, and pastimes is known as Krishna. And there's a footnote here we can read. In the same way that Sri Bhagavan does not reveal himself to unqualified people, the Vedas express confidential knowledge in an indirect. Oh, that was from before, previously, Parokshvad. Yeah, we read that before. Okay. I'll read a little bit more. The Ram in this mantra is not Sri Ram, son of Dasarath. He who enjoys Ramana with Sri Radha is known as Radha Raman. The name Ram in this mantra is an abbreviated form of the name Radha Raman. But Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada in his Chaitanya Charitamrita says that you can think of Ram as Balaram, or you can think of Ram as Lord Ram, because he just wants his followers who are fresh out of the forest to think of God in some way. So he says like this, but we shouldn't think that's the absolute reality. Junior people can think like that, that's okay. But the real meaning of Raman is Radha Raman. Shri Krishna plays on his flute and attracts Akarshana, the minds of the gopis, to him. He is therefore called Krishna. This mantra embodies so many sweet moods. There is no transcendental emotion or pastime of Krishna that is not included within this Mahamantra, but they will only be drawn, I think, in one's heart by the mercy of Sri Guru. But they will only dawn, sorry, yeah, dawn, much nicer word. They will only dawn in one's heart by the mercy of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas. Initially, by the mercy of these great personalities, one realizes the sweetness of the holy name. Oh, these holy names are sweeter than the sweetest. Nothing is sweeter. Therefore, the possessor of the name Nami personally awakens within one's heart and enables one to enter into his pastimes. Okay, so we'll stop here. And tomorrow we're going to dive into the holy name more fully. So Damodarastakam ki jai. And try to always pick up the thread from beginning to end. When you're chanting it privately yourself every day, try to pick up the thread with the verses. Where are they going? Try to understand the meanings, the what's it generating into the next place, the next place, the next place. So coming to our verse 6 here, and appreciating how Satyabrat Muni is hungry for the conclusion of his bhajan. He wants to see that Balagopal directly, not even just his face, not even just his body and his heart, but he wants to see him directly. And he considers that the greatest service that he can do to endear the Lord is to perform kirtan, Nam Sankirtan. So this whole verse 6 is all about Nam Kirtan and its glories to fulfill all of our desires, even material desires as well as spiritual desires. Hare Krishna mantra will take us wherever we choose to have our focus of desires. It will fulfill. It's so powerful. Krishna loves the sound of his holy name. So yesterday we were discussing about how Shri, in the mantra, Ram in this mantra is not Shri Ram, but the son of Dasarath, not the son of Dasarath. He who enjoys Raman with Sri Radha is known as Radha-Raman. The name Ram in this mantra is an abbreviated form of the name Radha-Raman. So this is the name of Ram, not Lord Balaram or Purushottam Ramchandra. Sri Krishna, but I commented yesterday how Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has said if someone is chanting, a general person, and they're thinking that this is Balaram, it's not the end of the world, it's no problem. They can think it's Balaram. No need to get all, disturbed about it, these sorts of things, because they're in process, and the longer they're in process, gradually that will be purified more and more. We must develop this mood of patience and tolerance towards everybody. Everyone's coming from a distant place to this path. So we have to always think of the compassion that Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he was saying the other day how they were all so crazy. He just walked into that whole crazy mood, and how tolerant was he? So we also have to develop that tolerance and patience with everybody. So if someone is thinking it's Ram, okay, but we can enlighten them when they're ready to be enlightened. Krishna plays on his flute and attracts Akarshana, the minds of the gopis, to him. He is therefore called Krishna. The mantra embodies so many sweet moods. There is no transcendental emotion or pastime of Krishna that is not included within this Maha Mantra, but they will only dawn in one's heart by the mercy of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas. Initially, by the mercy of these great personalities, one realizes the sweetness of the holy name. Oh, these holy names are sweeter than the sweetest. Nothing is sweeter. Madhuram, Madhuram. We sing this beautiful bhajan. Thereafter, the possessor of the name Nami personally awakens within one's heart and enables one to enter into his pastimes. What should the sadhak do if he is not achieving perfection in bhakti? We should always be very conscious of our development on this path. We should realize each day, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, when we lie down to take rest, we should tally up how we have moved forward today from yesterday. It shouldn't be static. If we've reached a place and it's very static, then that's a cause for alarm. We want to keep moving. It has to keep moving. If our practice is pure, and our desires are sincere, then that will always happen. What should the sadhak do if he's not achieving perfection in bhakti? Regarding himself to be very fallen and destitute, he should piteously perform kirtan of the Mahamantra. Just chant. For this reason, it is said, Harinam, Harinam, Harinam eva kevalam, kalo nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatir anyata. This is the Brihan Naradiya Purana, Adi 17:21. The name of Hari, the name of Hari, the name of Hari is the only way. In this age of Kali, there is no other way. There is no other way. There is absolutely no other way to achieve the ultimate destination. That's very profound, you know, because we do so many things. We do parikrama, we help with the book publications, we make prasadam, we offer takoji, we do DT seva. I mean, such a huge amounts of seva that we can do. But if that's all on the platform of our Harinam, then that seva will be very potent. If we're able to always be conscious of how much we're able to connect with Sri Nam each day. That's the backbone, the principle of our practice. And of course, our Guru Nishta will develop, because Guru will give mercy by that chanting. And we've discussed this before. This Mahamantra is the infallible remedy for all the ill effects of Kali Yuga. What's that? Kaler dosha. Kaler dosha. Kali Yuga is full of dosha, full of faults. Kali dosha nidhi rajan. Asti hyeko mahan guna. Kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangha param prajet. That even though it's an ocean of faults, there's this one good quality of the holy name. It's going to relieve us of all the ill effects of Kali Yuga. By chanting this mantra, all of one's desires are fulfilled without fail. What to speak of achieving something in this mundane realm? By this mantra, one cannot help but achieve the highest spiritual attainment. Such is the glory of Nam Sankirtan. When we chant our Anik, our Gayatri mantras, they don't cross over the Viraja river. It's not when you go to Vaikuntha or Dwarka or Mathura that they are all chanting their mantras. Those mantras are left behind. Those mantras are to connect us with Guru in this world. They are to inspire our sambandha with Sri Guru. But the Hare Krishna mantra, that goes right to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna and bears the fruits of prem right there. So this is, the Hare Krishna mantra is more powerful than any other mantra. Sometimes we're chanting for so long, we tend to get sort of disrespectful in a sense, thinking that it's actually not going to achieve my desires, because we might become frustrated with that. So, but we should take shelter of the Shastra and what it's saying, that this is the only way. Kalo nasteva, nasteva gati. Why do they say it 3 times? Because they're so stupid. We're completely stupid in this age. We've got no brain. Kali Yuga brains, really. You know, we don't have much common sense, really. And the wonderful thing is that many realize that and have that humility. And then the mercy can shower down. But if we're thinking, oh yes, I have good brain, you know, why is it saying, you know, like that? Then the mercy slows. That's not going to be a position to capture the heart of Krishna. So therefore, for the most fallen of this age, Mahaprabhu gives the highest mercy. As already mentioned, when Sri Krishna disappeared at the time of the Ras dance, the gopis sang Gopi Geet with the desire to see him directly. When Sri Krishna heard their song, he could not check himself and finally appeared before them. So Satyabhama Muni is thinking like this: if I perform this Sankirtan now, then surely I too will see Balagopal directly. Now he's come to the place where he directly wants to see Balagopal. With this in mind, Sri Satyabrat Muni also prays to directly behold Sri Krishna through Nam Sankirtan. O Deva, you whose form is divine and astonishing, O Bhaktavatsal Damodar, you who are bound by the rope of your mother's love. O Ananta, you who have unlimited potencies. O Vishnu, you who pervade everything and reside as the witness in the hearts of all beings. O Prabhu, you who possess infinite inconceivable potencies. O Isha, my master, you who are supremely independent. So when Krishna is performing his pastimes, sometimes his mother, she blesses him before he goes to the forest. Now, you be very careful. If you see any demons in the forest, you chant the name of Lord Narayan. And Krishna is smiling to himself. Don't you know I'm the Supreme Lord himself? He's thinking like that. But Mother Yashoda is saying this out of her maternal affection. But Krishna is absolutely... What could Krishna possibly be afraid of? He's afraid of Radhika's man. That's what he's afraid of. And he's afraid of transgressing what Mother Yashoda has instructed him to do also. He will contradict her and do something else, but he's afraid of the consequences. He always knows that he's going to get into trouble through Mother Yashoda. It is always advised that one should offer respects to one's worshipful Lord before beginning a prayer or before beginning any other activity. Therefore, Sri Satyabrat Muni first offers respects to his Ishtadev with the words Namo Deva. Deva means he whose form is divine. What is that divine form like?
Kasturi tilakam.
Louder, louder.
Lala. Kasturi tilakam lalata palake vakshasthale kaustubam nasagre varamautikam karatale venum kare kankanam sarvange harichandanam sulalitam kante cha muktavali gopastri pariveshtito vijayate gopala chudamani.
Sri Gopal Sahasranam Stotra 28. His forehead is decorated with musk tilak. The Kastuba jewel rests on his broad chest, and an exquisite pearl hangs from the tip of his nose. The flute gracefully rests in his lotus hands, and bracelets adorn his wrists. His entire form is anointed with chandan, and a necklace of pearls graces his attractive neck. All glories to the crest jewel of the Gopas, who is surrounded by all the young Brajagopis. This form of Sri Krishna, surrounded by the young ladies of Braj, is most beautiful and enchanting. Mother Yashoda has bound Deva, Sri Krishna. She wrapped a rope around his waist, brought it behind him, his back, and tied it to the grinding mortar. Deva can also mean he who is playing. In other words, in this pastime, Sri Krishna is playing in a form of a child. Sri Satyabrat Muni therefore says, I want to see the divine beauty of that Gopal who has appeared as a little child directly with my own eyes. It's a very ambitious desire, and he's very greedy to attain it. He's hungry to attain it. So this is the required ingredient in all of our practices, that hunger. If that hunger is not being generated one way or another, what's going to happen? We're just going to become complacent about our progress, and then no progress will really move ahead. It won't transpire. Srila Sanatana Goswami explains several meanings of Damodar in his commentary. One way to understand this name is in relation to Mother Yashoda. Sri Krishna wanted to relish Sri Yashoda's motherly affection. So he submitted to being bound by a rope of her love. He thus became known as Yashoda Damodar, he whose waist is bound by Sri Yashoda. Another way to understand this name is in relation to Sri Radha. When Sri Krishna eventually reappeared after leaving the Ras dance, he somehow pacified Radha's anger. One time this happened at Sevakunj, and another time at Mansarovar, just before they started the Ras dance again. Very hard to pacify Radhika's man. When she's angry in high man, Krishna, why does she go into man? To please Krishna, to give Krishna seva. So Krishna can work on purifying her man and bringing her to a comfortable place of relationship with Krishna, a compatible place, we can say, purifying this contrary nature. Krishna loves it because it's seva, it's service. Krishna loves service. He's hungry for service. So when Radhika goes into man, Krishna is happy. But that service is really hard sometimes for him to break. Sometimes he even has to dress up as a singer, a woman. All kinds of different things. Sometimes it's sahetu man, which is without a cause. And then there is, what's the other one? Who? Hetu. With a cause. Sometimes there's with a cause. But Radharani doesn't need to have a cause to go into man, because she knows that that is pleasing to Krishna. Chandravali can't go into man because she knows at heart Krishna won't be really interested to come and break it. She could go into man for a week and Krishna wouldn't even think about her. But if Radhika goes into man for a day or an hour, Krishna becomes frantic to break that man. So this is all part of the Leela that's been demonstrated to us of this divine love, because it's this divine love that's going to give us the qualification to melt into that transcendental reality, to take part in that. Everyone loves to hear about love. Everyone, even in the material world, we like to hear about love. Love softens the heart. We all want that love. The love of the divine realm is a whole nother dynamic. And so many times the pastimes look very similar to the pastimes in this material world. There's that verse, Anugrahaya Bhaktanam Manyusyam Deya Ashita Bhajate Tat Rishi Kritva Yashrutva Tat Parobhavet. That Krishna, he enacts as a human being just to attract the conditioned souls to him. It's very attractive what he does. So if we're meditating on those pastimes, we'll become deeply attracted to him. Because what is the alternative to meditating on those pastimes? It's meditating on the Mayic worlds, which means, what am I going to get out of it? This is the reality of Maya. It's I-centered, me, mine. That's called samsara. Where do we get to? Another way to understand this name is in relation to Sri Radha. When Sri Krishna eventually reappeared after leaving the Rasa dance, he somehow pacified Sri Radha's anger. One time this happened at Sevakunj, and another time at Mansarovar, just before they started the Rasa dance. Sri Lalita and Vishaka tied Sri Krishna's yellow pitamba to Sri Radhika's veil, binding them and making it impossible for him to escape. Another time, when Sri Krishna was on his way to meet with Sri Radha, Padma somehow brought him to Gauri-kunda and united him with Chandravali. Meanwhile, Sri Radha's main servants, headed by Sri Rupa Manjari, noted that Sri Radha had become increasingly anxious to meet with Sri Krishna. They began to search for him and finally found him in Gauri-kunda. "O Agari, slayer of the giant snake demon," they exclaimed, "a demon has entered Braj and is destroying everything." The demon was actually Sri Radha's separation from Sri Krishna. How beautiful. As soon as Sri Krishna heard this, he spoke to Chandravali, comforting her. "My dear one, I will return immediately after killing the demon. Just wait for me." There's no more copies of that Damodarastakam? You didn't bring them?
Today I didn't know.
Don't worry, don't worry. The demon is actually Sri Radha's separation from Sri Krishna. As soon as Sri Krishna heard this, he spoke to Chandravali, comforting her. My dear one, I will return immediately after killing the demon. Just wait for me. In this way, the Manjaris cleverly took Sri Krishna from Chandravali's grove and united him with Sri Radha. There the Manjaris tied the ends of Radha and Krishna's cloth in a knot. This is the seva of the Manjaris. It's also the seva of the Sakis too. They also perform these types of sevas. They're immersed in, we say that verse, the 6th verse of the Guruvastakam, Nikunja Yuno Rati Keli Sitai. That Guru is immersed in arranging for the meetings between Radha and Krishna. That's what his life is about. As a Manjari, only this. On yet another occasion, Sri Radha's friends tied the ends of her and Sri Krishna's cloth in a knot. To this day, the place where that pastime occurred is called Gantoli. It is because of all these pastimes that Sri Krishna became known as Radha Damodar. So there are many pastimes when Radhika is binding him. So the name, the footnote of Gantoli in Hindi word, Ganta, means knot, yes. Generally, Vishnu means the all-pervading being. Thus it is understood that the sage is saying, there is no place where you are not situated and no heart in which you do not dwell. You are everywhere. However, in his commentary, Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad has revealed another meaning of Vishnu. Sri Krishna eventually performs his confidential pastimes in all the secluded caves and groves of Giriraj Govardhan. Although even the demigods are unable to see Sri Krishna's pastimes in those kunjas, Sri Satyabrat Muni addresses the Lord as Vishnu with the hope that he may see Sri Krishna directly. In your pastimes, you reside in every grove and cave throughout this Vrindavan. Therefore, you do not have to undergo any pain by traveling a long distance to appear before my eyes. Satyabrat Muni is not letting Krishna get away with anything. But he's saying that Vishnu is all-pervasive, so it's not going to be an effort for him to reveal himself to Satyabrat Muni. The name Vishnu is used in a similar way in the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-39. Vikriditam brajavadubi itam cha Vishnu. In this verse, Vishnu refers to that Krishna who, with the desire to relish the gopis' love for him, sounded his flute and lured all the gopis from their homes. By pervading their hearts, he entirely won their love. Similarly, in Sri Satyabrat Muni's prayer, Vishnu refers solely to Brajendranandan, Sri Krishna. So it's not Vishnu, Paramatma. It's not Vishnu, the maintainer of this world. It's Brajendranandan, Shamsundar. Sri Satyabrat Muni says, Dukkha Jalatabdi Magnam. Jalabdi Magnam. I am oppressed by the miseries of material existence. For an incalculable period of time, I have been trapped in this vicious cycle of birth and death, and consequently, I mistake this body to be my actual self. I am wretched and utterly foolish. I am drowning in the fathomless ocean of material existence, and I am unable to rescue myself. Furthermore, the sage says, I am suffering because I am not being supported by the mercy of saints, and I do not have any strength to perform sadhana. Helpless. We shouldn't be hopeless, but we should be helpless. In that mood, we are depending on Krishna's mercy. Never be hopeless, though. Ashabandha means great hope. We should always have that. In this regard, Sriman Mahaprabhu asks Sri Rai Ramananda, Dukkha madhye kona dukkha haya Gurutara. Of all sorrows, which is the most severe? Sri Rai Ramananda replies, Krishna Bhakta Viraha Vina Dukkha Nahi Deha Para. Other than the pain of being separated from Sri Krishna's devotees, I see no actual sorrow. The sorrow of being separated from Sri Krishna's devotees is in fact the greatest agony. Therefore, from Sri Satyabrat Muni's words, Dukkha Jalabdi Magnam, I am drowning in an ocean of misery, we can understand that he prays to attain Sadhu Sangha, the company of saintly personalities. One can only attain Sri Bhagavan's mercy by the causeless compassion of the saints. Sri Nanda Maharaj tells Gagaracharya, go ahead.
Mahadvichalanam nrunam gruhinam dinachetasam nishreyasaya bhagavan kalpate nanyadha kvachit.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-4. Such saintly personalities like you wander about visiting the homes of ordinary people and wretched and destitute householders like us. O exalted devotee, you never have any other reason to do this except to bestow the mercy upon us. Very beautiful verse. One should note that it is because Nanda Maharaj was acting like an ordinary human being that he addressed Gagaracharya in this way. In reality, there is a vast gulf of difference between Nanda Baba and Gagaracharya. This kind of behavior is exhibited by Sri Bhagavan's associates in the course of performing their human-like pastimes, in order to show everyone that Sri Bhagavan can only be achieved by the immense mercy of sadhus. I think we can turn that off. When even Sri Krishna's eternal associate, his mother, had to undergo so much endeavor to bind him, then on what grounds can the conditioned souls complain about the troubles they encounter in trying to achieve him? Mother Yashoda had to perform such strenuous efforts to bind Krishna. So we also have to perform that chesta, that endeavor, which will be reciprocal with the kripa of Krishna. You understand? There is no need to make a pompous display of devotion. We should simply act according to the method of sadhana taught to us by Guru and Vaishnavas, and in this way, bhajan following in the footsteps of our 6 Goswamis. Radha-kunda
Kalindathanaya Tire Chavam Shivate
Premonmadavasha Ashesha Dashaya Grasto Pramoto Sada Gayanto Chakada Hare Gunaparam Bhava Vibhuto Mudha Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopala. We were talking about Srinivasacharya yesterday, and I forgot to mention the glories of his composition of this Sad Goswami Astakam. But today we're hearing it. I worship Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Sanatana Goswami, Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami, and Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Intoxicated with love and gripped by the countless ecstasies arising from separation, they always used to roam the banks of Radha-kunda and the Jamuna, or the forest near Vamsivat. They remain overwhelmed with spiritual ecstasies, while incessantly enraptured by singing about Sri Hari's most excellent qualities. So this is association. We are seeking this association. They are teaching us, as my Gurudev just said, sadhana taught to us by the Guru and Vaishnavas is the way to perform bhajan, following in the footsteps of our Goswamis. So this Sad Goswami Astakam is such a jewel and gift to the world. How to act in bhajan. What is the nature of the Goswamis bhajan? How did they live? Sankhya Purvaka Namagana Natibi. They chanted a fixed number of rounds every day, etc. Krishna Kirtana Garna, they're chanting constantly the names of Krishna. The words Ashesha Dasaya in the above verse describe the 6 Goswamis as being gripped by the countless ecstasies arriving from separation. In other words, their bodies would erupt with horripilation, trembling, and other ecstasies. They would even reach the stage in which one verges on death due to the intense pain of separation and began to faint. How exalted is the bhajan of these great personalities. In comparison, where is our sudden bhajan? Not one single tear comes to our eyes. What to speak of us fainting? Therefore, we must strive to perform bhajan in sadhu sangha in such a way that we are constantly immersed in serving our worshipful Lord. So much is said here. So much is said in this commentary. Everything we need to know about bhajan. The Goswamis, acting as Radha-kunda sadhaks, were suffering because they could not see Sri Bhagavan and his associates. He Radhe Brajadevi ki chalalite, he Nanda Suno Kuta. The 6 Goswamis would cry out, O Radha, O goddess of Vrindavan, O Lalita Devi, O son of Nanda, where are you? Where are you? Far beyond the pain of separation, experienced in the stage of sadhana, is the indescribable pain of separation experienced by Shri Bhagavan's Ragatmika Jan, those whose hearts are imbued with rag in the stage of prem. In Gopi Geet and Brahmara Geet, within the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Shukadev Goswami has illustrated such separation by indirect hints. In the same way, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in his written book, has merely alluded to the condition of someone separated from Krishna. We experience this when we see the pastimes of Krishna directly in the Gambhira as Mahaprabhu. What extremity of separation did he manifest when he came into his tortoise form? And so much separation mood was there, this Vipralamba Bhav. And then when he fell in the ocean thinking it was the Jamuna, he was showing the devotees the height of this Asta-sattvika bhavs that he was experiencing in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even Bhav Bhakti is extraordinary, for even after performing millions and millions of arduous spiritual practices, one cannot achieve it. For example, Sri Uddhav went to Nandagaon, where he closely associated with Ragatmika Jan of all 5 rasas. However, he could only get the association of Srimati Radhika, the most exalted of all those associates, from a distance. However, he was able to achieve the company of her friends, who were her kaya vyuha, or bodily manifestations. He had so much good fortune. But did he ever succeed in becoming a single plant in Braj or a creeper, or even a piece of straw? In the end, he could only praise the gopis. Asammaho charanarenu jusammaham syam vrindavana kimapi golamatosindam yadustyajam svajanam ayapartantitra beju mukunda paravim srutibir. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47. Given up everything for Sri Krishna. They have abandoned the path of chastity, their families, and their children. Which are all extremely difficult to give up. Now they have taken shelter of Prema Bhakti for Sri Krishna. The personified scriptures, Shrutis, constantly search for the same Prem Bhakti, but really attain it. Let me just become a bush or a creeper or a blade of grass in Vrindavan, then I might attain the dust from the lotus feet of one of these gopis.
Vande Nanda Vrajastrinam Pada Renum Abhikshanas
Yasham
Yasam harikathokitam punati bhuvanatrayam.
I bow down to the dust of the feet of the gopis who reside in Nanda Baba's village. Oh, whatever these gopis have sung about Krishna's pastimes always has and always will purify the entire world. Very, very beautiful verse. I'm just reading today, but all of you can read carefully through these pages while you're taking your mala tomorrow, because they're loaded with the direction of pure bhajan. My Gurudev is giving such clear focus and direction. So to hear it again and again and again is going to be very beneficial for the devotees. Why is that we feel cheated in this rasa and cheated in these exalted moods, even after we have obtained sadhusanga? The reason is that we do not really want to taste what the saints long for us. Saints long for us to relish. Should be, isn't it? Word missing there. To relish. Otherwise, why would we not become full of anxiety when we are separated from them? Why do we not perform bhajan with great eagerness? Ask ourselves this question. Why are we not performing great bhajan? What's the reason? Each person will have his own understanding of this. Each person will have his own set of circumstances which are holding him back from diving into fully embracing the mood of Braj through his bhajan. So we should reflect carefully on this reason for why am I not going forward sufficiently. Maybe we are, but actually if someone is going forward, he never thinks he's going forward, because the quality of humility will actually be there. And if you think, it's like, there will be no hunger if you think, yes, I'm pretty good. Then where is your greed? There will be complacency. So always the sadhaka is in a mood of, my Gurudev used to say himself, he would give a festival every single day of the year. 365 days of the year, he would be speaking in a festival. Maybe 10 devotees, even 5 devotees. But there would always be constant Harikatha coming from him. Yet he never felt he was pleasing his Guru sufficiently. There always felt like a shortfall of that. So we should always have that mood that I'm not doing enough. Because as soon as you start to think you are doing enough, oh, you're the doer, you're doing all this, then what will happen? You'll just go really, really slow. You won't go anywhere. Because this horrible quality of pride will overtake us. Always the guiding quality must be humility. It's the pillar on which the Krishna Seva Vasana moves forward. Why do we not perform bhajan with great eagerness? When Sri Krishna concluded his pastimes in this world, a desire to attain Brajabhav awoke within Sri Uddhav's heart. This desire came by the mercy of the Brijvasis, and especially by the mercy of Srimati Radhika. Because Uddhav desperately wanted to become a particle of dust at Sri Radhika's lotus feet, it is presumed that he is performing bhajan at Radha-kunda in Govardhan. Are you sure it's a rest day today? I looked at the calendar and I thought they're going to Nandagan today.
Because yesterday they went to Nandagram.
We didn't talk about Nandagram yesterday. Sunday the 10th.
I think today to Kartika, not down there.
Yes, that's what I thought. They went to Nandagan today. It was a rest day perhaps yesterday.
Today is Harikatha and rest.
Huh?
For Madhu Maharaj's party, today is Harikatha and rest.
Okay.
Yesterday they went.
To Nandagan.
Yesterday they went to Nandagan.
But we didn't speak about that at all. We didn't mention
You
it.
said in one line before the kirtan. Before the kirtan, you did said about it. There was a sticker over there, and you did speak about it. But not in detail. It was like
Okay.
where the party went.
Okay, so Nandagan ki jai. Charakadamba ki jai. Uddhav Keri ki jai. Ashishvar Mahadev ki jai. Where else? Radha-kunda ki jai. Lalita-kunda ki jai.
नंद खीरक की जय, प्रेम सरोवर की जय।
Prem Sarovar ki jai. Sanket ki jai. So Uddhav wants to become a particle of dust at the lotus feet of Sri Radhika. Sri Tulsidas has said, you can pronounce this, you can say this. Abha Prachayata
Prachayate
ताए हो
होता क्या
ताए हो क्या जब
जब चिड़िया
What is the use of lamenting now? It is because of your own carelessness that birds are eating your crops. In other words, by Sri Bhagavan's grace, you have taken a rare birth in the human species. If you waste it simply eating and sleeping like an animal, then you will have to remain wandering in the material world, taking birth in one of the 84 million species of life. Therefore, you should realize how trivial it is to simply exist like an animal, and you should stay determined to permanently be in sadhu sangha. Very strong words. But our situation is so sad that even though we have attained the great fortune of associating with saints, our hearts remain unaffected. This is because we do not have full faith in Sri Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas, and as a result, we remain deprived of the grace of Sri Guru and Sri Bhagavan. That faith only comes in time, when we have many realizations of the absolute reality. With confidence, Shraddha Shakti Vishvasa Hoy, Sudrita Nishchoy. This confidence will come when our faith is very strong. If our faith is strong, then our confidence in the eternal reality will be strong. There will still have to be great efforts. Sri Satyabrat Muni prays, Prasthita Prabhu, O you who possess all inconceivable potencies, O Master, please be kind to me. Deliver me from my pitiable mundane existence and grant me the association of your devotees. I have no hope but you. We must also pray like this. O Prabhu, cast your compassionate glance upon me. When we chant your names, no tears come to our eyes, and our bodies do not tremble. We are unable to perform sadhana. We are only sustaining our ambition of attaining Braja Prem, and especially Gopi Bhav, the prem which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give, on the hope that we will receive your merciful glance. It is only by the strength of that glance that we have any chance of attaining our goal. Even if we continue performing sadhana bhajan, as we are now doing for millions and millions of lifetimes, it will be in vain. We will still be completely impossible for us to attain Braja Prem, especially Gopi Bhav, the topmost love of Braj. O Master, have mercy on us. We need that mercy. We need to cry for it. Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj used to talk about the crying school. We are at that school where we're crying for this. If no tears are coming, if no eagerness, genuine enthusiasm is coming for this goal, it won't manifest. With great anguish, we should cry, let me attain just a drop of Gopi Bhav. How can such a drop be obtained? It is obtained by the mercy of sadhus who are absorbed in the mood of Braj. Thus, Sri Satyabrat Muni says, O Prabhu, kindly grant me the association of pure-hearted saints. In their association, all my cherished desires will be fulfilled. Sri Satyabrat Muni addresses Sri Bhagavan as Isha. You who are supremely independent, in order to petition him, you are the master and controller of all, so I need not seek the mercy of others to achieve your grace. O Lord, be kind to me. You do not depend on anyone for anything. If the sadhak is completely surrendered, then you do not even pay attention to the formalities of his sadhana. If we're completely sharanagat, Krishna won't be looking to see, is he chanting or is he doing this or anything? He will know that his heart has become soft and melted, and he will bestow his mercy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the best example of how the Lord distributes his courseless mercy while completely ignoring all considerations of qualification. If someone merely saw him, even from a distance, prema would spontaneously manifest in their heart. Sriman Mahaprabhu did not consider anyone's qualifications or frailties. Without even considering the quality of anyone's spiritual practices, he distributed prema to everyone. This is Audarya, this mood of absolute munificence that Mahaprabhu is manifesting in this world. A brilliant example of this is found in Chaitanya Charitamrita. On the way to Vrindavan, Sriman Mahaprabhu journeyed through the Radha-kunda forest. As he passed through the forest, he caused prema to awaken in the hearts of all the wild animals, birds, worms, insects, trees and plants and creepers. All the creepers of the jungle were instantly granted prema. Alas, will the world ever see anyone else as merciful? Therefore have mercy on me and grant me direct darshan of you. So perhaps we can just finish this. Sri Satyabrat Muni entreats Sri Bhagavan. It is not a momentary vision within my heart of little Gopal, crying out of fear of his mother as she binds him to the grinding mortar. O Master, I pray to see that form directly with my own eyes. In verse 4, Sri Sanatana Goswami quoted Sri Pipalayana Rishi's explanation of Antar Darshan, found within the Sri Brihat Bhagavatamrita. One first sees Sri Bhagavan within one's mind, and then with one's eyes. Brahmaji beheld Sri Krishna within his mind and received a benediction from him, which fructified as the ability to create the material universe. However, in reply to Pipalayana Rishi's reasoning, Sri Gopkumar said, "Your thoughts are excellent, but my desire is to see Sri Madan Gopal directly with my eyes." Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur states, first, Sri Bhagavan is seen within the soul, and then that vision reflects in the mind. The form of the deity is the externally manifest reflection of the moods that Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas experience at such times. Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas mercifully plant the tendency to perform service to Sri Krishna in a person's heart as a seed. That seed gradually matures through the stages of Shraddha, Nishta, Asakti, and so on, until it finally reaches its destination. But the seed can only develop like this if the sadhak carefully proceeds in sadhu sangha without interruption. Ahoitiki apatihata. No interruption. Even if Sri Bhagavan personally appears to a devotee who is in the advanced stage of prema, he will think that he is seeing his worshipful Lord within his heart due to being overwhelmed with bhav. For example, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left Sri Navadvip Dham, he would personally come to eat the foodstuffs his mother cooked for him. But she always considered her visions of him to be hallucinations. Similarly, after Sri Krishna left Vrindavan, he personally appeared before the gopis again and again, but they also dismissed these meetings as mere visions because they want to see him directly. They're not satisfied with that. Mother Sachi wanted to see her darling Nimai directly. She wasn't satisfied with just seeing a vision. A devotee who progresses through the stages of bhakti by performing Nam Sankirtan finally attains prema. Leaving this world behind, he enters the divine realm where he sees Sri Bhagavan directly. This darshan eradicates the slightest scent of any remaining anarthas and gives him entrance into Bhagavan's eternal pastimes in Sri Vrindavan Dham. So thus ends my Gurudev's commentary, Digdarshani Vritti, on the 6th verse. So there's a footnote by Srila Bhakti Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj. You can all look at this yourselves. and we'll begin verse 7 tomorrow. So this verse 6 is a very, very powerful impression of Nam Sankirtan. What is the result of our Nam Sankirtan? How far can we reach in our desires to be serving directly that Supreme Lord? Simply by chanting. It's so simple a process, really. Anyone can perform it. But to be focused and to hear carefully the divine mantra, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj used to say that one should chant very carefully and be considering the quality of his Nam, rather than trying to gallop into just creating many rounds, but we should actually be very attentive to the quality that we're performing. So many teachings are in this particular chapter, and I've just read it through very quickly because all of a sudden I thought we've got 4 days left, and I want to complete this book during this Kartik. So I read a little quickly, but all of you should have got some familiarity with the text, so you can go over it again yourselves, so you know the content of this chapter. Very, very special, very deep. Damodarastakam Shri Jai. Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Go Premanande. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Nitai Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaura Hari, Go Premanande. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripasin, Tatitanam Papneyo Vaishnave Namo.